Have you ever pulled a finished soap bar out of the mold and wished it had that extra firmness and a beautiful natural sheen? Beeswax might just be the ingredient you have been missing. I am Kathy the Clumsy Soaper, and today we are going to explore how and when to use beeswax in your soap recipes. You will learn how beeswax affects hardness, lather, and finish in both home and commercial soap making. Let us dig into this together. This one is a real game changer for your craft. Beeswax has this wonderful reputation in the handmade soap world. It is natural, it is beautiful, and it smells like a summer garden. But reputation and reality are two different things. Beeswax genuinely does some impressive things for your bars, and it also creates real challenges that catch a lot of soapers off guard. So before you melt that golden chunk into your next batch, let us talk honestly about both sides of the story. Before we talk about how much beeswax to use, let us make sure we understand what it actually does to your soap, because each of these effects has real consequences for your formulation decisions. Beeswax adds hardness, giving you a firmer bar straight out of the mold. It also speeds up trace, and sometimes dramatically so, which can catch new soapers completely off guard. On the downside, it reduces lather. Your bubbles become smaller and less fluffy. On the upside, it creates a polished, almost cosmetic-looking finish, and it extends shelf life through its natural preservative properties. Now, beeswax is one of those ingredients where restraint is everything. Keep it between 1 and 3% of your total oil weight. That is the sweet spot. At 1%, you get a lovely sheen and a slightly harder bar. At 3%, your bars are noticeably firm and sturdy. Push past 5% and you have essentially made a candle. Rock solid, zero lather. Less is genuinely more with beeswax. Beeswax has a significantly higher melt point than most soap-making oils, sitting somewhere around 62 to 65 degrees Celsius, which means if you just toss it into your other oils, it will not cooperate. The trick is to melt it alongside your hardest oils, typically coconut and palm, because those also require heat to liquefy. Add your beeswax first, apply gentle heat, and stir consistently until everything becomes one fully liquid, uniform mixture. If you spot any stubborn chunks floating around, strain the blend before adding your softer oils or moving forward. Think of it like dissolving sugar into hot water versus cold. Temperature matters enormously for getting full integration. If beeswax hits your batter in solid or partially solid form, it creates hard, waxy specks distributed unevenly throughout your finished bar. That uneven texture affects not just aesthetics, but also how the bar performs on skin. The beeswax cannot do its conditioning and hardening job properly if it never fully incorporated. Here is something that catches so many soapers off guard when they first work with beeswax. You need to soap hot, and I mean genuinely hot. Both your oils and your lye solution should be at 130 degrees Fahrenheit or above before you combine them. Beeswax has a high melting point compared to most soap fats, and if your temperatures drop too low too fast, the wax solidifies almost instantly, giving you a lumpy, uneven trace that is nearly impossible to pour cleanly. Think of it like working with chocolate. Let it cool too much and it seizes on you. Soaping hot keeps the beeswax fluid and fully incorporated throughout your mix, giving you a smoother trace and a much cleaner pour into your mold. Here is the big warning though. If you try cold process soaping with beeswax at lower temperatures, you will almost certainly hit what we call false trace. Your batter looks thick and ready, but that thickness is just solidifying wax, not actual saponification trace. You pour it thinking you are done, and the result is a poorly mixed, oily, uneven mess. Keep those temperatures up and you stay in control. Here is something worth knowing before you finalize any beeswax formula. Beeswax does not contribute to lather. In fact, it competes with the oils that do. Because beeswax coats the bar surface, it physically reduces how quickly those lathering oils can interact with water. To compensate, push your coconut oil a little higher than usual and bring castor oil in at around 5 to 8%. Castor oil is a reliable lather booster and helps stabilize the bubbles your coconut oil generates. The goal is a bar that feels firm and conditioning, but still performs well in the shower. Now, here is something worth knowing. Beeswax does not always belong inside your soap formula. Sometimes it genuinely performs better in other skincare products entirely. In lotion bars and lip balms, beeswax acts as the structural backbone, creating that smooth, solid form that melts on contact with skin. For cracked hands or dry lips, that slow, waxy release of moisture is exactly what you want. Keep this in your formulation toolkit. Here is something small that makes a big difference when you are working with beeswax in your soap. The color of the wax itself matters more than most people expect. Natural beeswax carries that warm, golden yellow pigment from the hive, and that color transfers directly into your finished bar. If you are making a rustic, honey-themed, or warm-toned soap, that is actually beautiful, and you should just plan for it intentionally. But if you are aiming for pale creams, soft pastels, or white-based designs, natural beeswax will push those colors toward yellow no matter what colorants you add. In that situation, bleached beeswax is your better choice. It has had that pigment removed and gives you a much more neutral, whiter base to work with. Think of it like choosing between salted and unsalted butter in baking. The underlying ingredient changes your final result even before you add anything else. The key takeaway here is simple. Neither type is wrong, but you need to choose deliberately. Yellow soap is perfectly fine. It just needs to be a planned yellow, not a surprised yellow. Here is something worth keeping in mind when you are planning your fragrance selection for a beeswax soap. Beeswax is not a neutral ingredient. It carries its own natural scent, those warm, honey floral notes that most of us actually love. But that character can work against you if you pair it with something delicate or light. Floral soliflors or soft aquatic fragrances can get completely swallowed up or muddled. Your safest and most successful pairings are bold, grounding scents. Vanilla, citrus, and herbal blends hold their own beautifully against beeswax. And if you want a tried-and-true classic that never disappoints, beeswax with lavender is one of those timeless combinations that soap makers have been reaching for generations, and for very good reason. And that brings us to the end of our beeswax lesson. Remember these 3 things. Keep your beeswax at 1 to 3% only. Keep everything hot at 130 degrees Fahrenheit or higher so it blends properly. And always balance your lather by adding bubble oils like castor or coconut. These principles apply whether you are crafting a small batch at home or scaling up for commercial production. You now have the confidence to use beeswax wisely. Once again, this is Kathy, the Clumsy Soaper. Be blessed and be a blessing to others.